No more can be traded. My heart's have been spaded. I'm not too prideful to up and leave. You've been all complacent. The tides have been changing. Love is just patience, and for you.
What's up, bookish babes? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you guys my 23 favorite books of 2023. Now, I didn't put these books in any specific order. Well, I guess like you would say, I didn't rank them or anything. I kind of just remembered the books that I really enjoyed this year, and I kind of just pulled them off the shelf just to share with you guys. So if you guys ever seen a video of me recommending any book, 9 times out of 10 it's a YouTube short or something. It is one of these books, except for like two I just recently read. And yeah, I just recently read two books, and I think I'm gonna get to those first because no, one of those first, because I don't own the physical copy of that book just yet. I need to order it on Amazon. I need to order the whole little series on Amazon because I heard the third book in this series is amazing, and just by a little glimpse I got of this character in this book that I read recently, I can see. Now, like I said, we're going to go ahead and dive into the books that I don't own physically first. And I feel like I'm going to need something to hold in my hand. So we're going to just pick up my Kindle. And we're going to hold my Kindle for right now. So while I talk about these two books. And I'm also going to put the picture of the books on the screen for you guys so you guys can see it. So we're not going to keep rambling on. We're going to get straight into this video. The first book that I want to mention to you guys is A Worthy Love by A.E. Valdez. This book follows Marissa and Asher. And first of all, I just feel like I just love rich guys in books. Maybe I'm just living vicariously through the females in the books, but I just love a rich guy in a book because I feel like not only are they financially stable, like they 9 out of 10 are emotionally stable as well. Though I said 9 times out of 10, I didn't say 10 out of 10 because you got some of them that's a little psychopath, but 9 times out of 10 they're emotionally stable as well. And Asher is one of those guys who was very in tune to Marissa's feelings, and I really love that about the guys in the books. When you're in tune to my feelings and you know that if you ask me what's wrong and I say I'm okay, you know I'm lying. Baby, Asher was that guy. I absolutely love Asher. And one thing I noticed about Miss A. Valdez, she really knows how to write some emotionally in tune guys. So I absolutely love her for that, and I love her book. Now the next book is The Right Move by Liz Sumford. This book had me straight giggling. Like I was giggling like a child reading this book because the things that they were saying to each other, Indy and Ryan. If you don't know, this is the second book in the Windy City series. The first book is Mile High. It follows Stevie and Xander. Stevie is the sister to the brother in The Right Move, and Indy is Stevie's best friend. And Indy also worked as a flight attendant on Xander's plane where they fly out of town for their games and stuff. So they're all like, but oh my goodness. First of all, Ryan is another person that Ryan, baby, this boy, I just can't even explain. It's like the little small things he does for her. Like she can mention it. Like I think she just mentioned that her favorite color was lilac, and she actually moved in with him after going through a terrible breakup with her ex. So she needed somewhere to stay in order to be able to stay in Chicago. And Stevie talked him into allowing her to stay with him. She moved in. She didn't have anything but her clothes and the clothes on her back. So that's all she brought with her. And she slept on the floor for the first night. And this guy went and bought her a bed with lilac sheets. And I was just like, wow. It's like the simple things that I was just like, well, dang, he really pays attention. And like he really showing that he has a heart. And it's just like the small things he did throughout the book. She's a vegetarian child. It's just the small things he did throughout the book that had me like swooning for this guy. And I had to remind myself, he ain't real. He's not real. But he had me swooning for him because I was like, girl, she's like so freaking lucky to have this guy in her life, because the way that listen, fictional boyfriends are going to do it every time for me. Fictional boyfriends are going to do it every time for me. So now that we got those two out the way, we're gonna go ahead and mention the ones that's over here physically on hand. And like I said, it's no specific order. I just took them off the shelf and stacked them over here next to me. So the first book is When in Rome by Sarah Adams. Now, I was just introduced to Sarah Adams this year. I read the cheat sheet and I read this one, but I haven't read Practice Make Perfect. I think that one is about one of the sisters in this book, and Amelia Rose Bodyguard. Now, Amelia Rose she is a singer, and she wanted to run away for a day because, well, I think she just wanted to be a day. I don't even know. It was just wanted to be a day. She just needed a break, and she loved this movie called Roman Holiday with Audrey Hepburn in it, and Audrey one day drove off in the middle of the night to go to Rome, and Amelia felt like, well, I need a break. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overworked. I want to just get away from the limelight and just take time to myself. So she looked up the very first Rome she can come across of, and it happens to be Rome, Kentucky. And when she gets there, her car breakdowns in front of Noah's house. Now, Noah, being the gentleman he is, he invited Amelia to come in and spend the night with him until, well, he has a second bedroom. It would be strange, but even though it was strange, but either way, she had like before she got out her car to go in his house, she had people call. He had to call someone to vouch for him that he was a good guy before she got out the car with to stay in his house, and that was hilarious on its own. But the way listen, if you haven't read this book, you wouldn't understand. But this is an amazing book. I absolutely love this book so much. It was so good, so good. And I'm so glad that I finally got introduced into Sarah Adams this year because I seen her books and I kind of just walked past them every time I seen them. So I'm glad I actually took a chance and read a new author this year. I think that's what I have to do most next year is just like step out of my comfort zone with my comfort authors and read other authors. So that's a goal for next year. Now, the next book on the list is, oh my God, The Way I Used to Be by Smith. I don't know why I think I heard Sarah. Amber Smith. Now, this is about Eden. One night, Eden's in high school. I think she was starting high school. Yeah, she was starting high school. And her brother came inside of her room and raped her. And she didn't, she basically didn't know how to tell people, her mom, like, the guy that you've been letting around me and allowed around me for years and who I looked at like a extended brother came in and violated me on an unredeemable level. But she didn't know how to tell anyone this. So instead of speaking out, she started acting out. And one thing that I'm so adamant about when it comes to my kids is when they start acting out, I start to feel like maybe there is something going on that they're not telling me. So I always ask my kids, like, what's wrong? Why are you acting this way? Like, what happened? Like, do you need to tell me something? She didn't have that in her life until, like, I want to say Josh. Until she met Josh, he kind of asked her and she kind of brushed him off, but she was just going downhill after that happened. Like, it was just downhill from there. And she was a good girl. Like, she started off, and that's the crazy thing to me is that as a parent, you notice the changes in your kids' behavior because you're with them 24/7. Well, not even 24/7 because they do go to school, but you're with them every day, and you be vigilant about stuff like that. Be so vigilant about how your kids are behaving and the shift in their behavior and everything. Like, have those conversations with your kids. If something you seems off, 9 out of 10 is off. Talk about it. So this, I cried like a baby. I really cried like a baby for her because no one should have to be that young going through. Well, anybody shouldn't have. You have to. It don't matter what age you are. You shouldn't have to go through something that traumatic. But the next book I want to mention is The Kingmaker by Kennedy Ryan. This one follows Maximum and Lennox. Maximum family. He's come out from a rich oil mogul family. Well, his dad is an oil mogul, and Lennox was one day she was out on the indigenous land protesting in Orline being buried in on their grounds because she felt like indigenous land was protected and it shouldn't be disturbed. Like it's their land. Like you shouldn't be having the right to come on and do what you want to do on our land. And she was protesting against Maximum Father, where a riot took out, and he actually sick dogs on these people. Like that was so crazy to me and so disgusting. Like that was inhumane for real. You sick dogs on people just. How do you say like they are protesting non-violent like girl? It was so disturbing, but I really love Lennox and Maximum in this book. They met that day. They both got arrested, and that's how they met. And then a couple years passed. They went on about their life. Cause I think Lennox was in high school. They went on about their life, and then they met again. So it's the second book in the series called The Rubber King. I need to finish reading that book, but there was a lot of stuff that happened in this book, a whole bunch. So if you haven't read Kingmaker by Kennedy Ryan, please do so. The next book on this stack, oh my god. When I first read this book right here, this whole series right here, Red Queen, had me in an absolute choke a hold. I don't know what it is. I guess maybe I need to read The Hunger Games because a lot of people say books. It's another book that reminds me of this book, and they say give Hunger Game vibes. I really need to read Hunger Games because I haven't read Hunger Games. I haven't watched Hunger Games. None of this. I know nothing about Hunger Games, but this follows Mare Barrows. She lives in this divided world where there are the Silvers and there are the Reds. The Silvers are the people that have royal families that have powers, and Reds are just ordinary humans. And the Silvers kind of look at the Reds like they're beneath them, like they really don't deserve to, be alive for real. So she one day I think she had to go into the castle one day to work, or she snuck in. I don't even remember because I read this book so long ago. But she ended up, I think, sneaking into the palace, or having to go work there one day. I think she had to work. Yeah. And yeah, she had to go work because she ran into Cal, the prince, and he got her a job there because when I think at a certain age you either go to the military or you find a job. Yes, that's what. See, it's coming back. It's coming back to me. You either go to the military or you find a job. So he ended up getting her a job so that she wouldn't have to go off into the military because if I think like they get 17 or so. But he ended up getting her a job at the castle. She ends up there one day. One day was, I guess, like interviewing brides for the prince, and something ended up happening. One of the girls ended up using her powers and hitting something, and Mary Barrow ended up falling. And they discovered that she had red blood but silver abilities, and they tried to cover it up because it was unheard of for a red to have silver powers. So they tried to cover it up. They tried to force her into marrying the younger brother of the two. And come find out that boy was just crazy. Like that boy was just crazy. This book is this series, not even just this book. This series is so good, and I would like shove it down your throat. It's like read it, please. It is so freaking good. I enjoyed the heck out of that book. I might do my favorite series of 2023. So be on the lookout for that because one thing about it, I absolutely love. The next book on this list is Love Directly by Ellie Hazelwood. Girl, I'm obsessed with this book. I'm obsessed with Jack. It's just the way, like I told you guys, it's the way that guys in books are so attentive to some of the females around them feelings. And he noticed that Elise, anytime she get around someone, she kind of become what that person needs. And she really don't know who her true self is. So this book right here, oh my god, I just love him. I love him. If you haven't read this yet, don't I love him. And it's not so sciencey as Love on Brain was. I did not like Love on Brain, but Love Hypothesis, 10 out of 10, would recommend, as well as this. The next book on the list is the 7 Year Slip. This book follows Clementine, who ended up moving into her auntie's flat in New York, and her auntie always told her like, "Hey, this apartment's magical." And she didn't. When she got older, she stopped believing her because she like it never happened while I'm here, so I don't know what you're talking about. So she ended up moving in one day, and she's laying on the couch about to take a nap, and she wake up and hear this guy, and she immediately think the guy broke into her apartment, and he was like, "No, your aunt told me that I can come spend the summer here to do my internship in town," and all of this, not knowing that she actually slipped 7 years in the past. And he was like, and not to mention her auntie had passed away around this time, so it was just real crazy for her. I really enjoyed this book. This book was so good. I want to go to New York after reading this book. I absolutely love it. I seen Destiny has a pink version of this. Well, girl, I need that. I need that. I'm not even gonna hold you. I just need that book. Now the next book is Heartless by Lauren Roberts. This is the book that I was saying that reminds me so much of Red Queen, and it follows Peyton and Kai. Kai is the prince of their little kingdom, and this one, instead of reds and silvers, they're the elites and the ordinary. Now Kai is sent out to kill all the ordinaries. Like, he was sent out to kill all the ordinaries. He's like becoming the enforcer, and his brother is the next in line to be the king. So one day he's in like, what is it called? I don't even know what the little thing is called. Um it's a little, I don't know what a little spot called where the people that the mundanes, that's what they call it, people with low light abilities, they stay. But he ended up over there trying to um got news that it was a little girl that was in there that didn't have any abilities, the ordinary, and he was sent out to kill her. And he ran into Peyton, and Peyton ended up helping him out with the situation, and she ends up getting voted into doing these trials. But in order to do these trials, you had to have powers. Peyton don't have no powers. Peyton been faking it her whole life. Her dad was a healer, and she was born with no power. She was ordinary, and the banter, the high stakes. A lot of people say, like I said, a lot of people say this book reminded them of Hunger Games. I need to read the Hunger Games to see for myself, but I absolutely love this book. I see the hype behind it. The next book on the list is Heartless by Elsa Silver. Dedicated. Dedicated. I love Willa. I love Cade. I love what was Cade's son name? I don't even remember the little boy name. I love him. It's the single father trope, cowboy romance. This is the second book in the Chestnut Spring series, and I absolutely ate this book up. I enjoyed the crap out of this book. It, I don't know. I think it's like my favorite book in the series so far. I can't. I haven't read any of the other ones, so this one right here, dedicate, dedicate, dedicate. It's something about the daddies, single fathers, and trope books. I love the single father trope because the single dads are gonna do it all the time for me. All right, let's pick up back where we left off. Mommy Duty's called. The next book on the list is If You Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. This book right here, beautiful. It's another one of those books that I just was like, I don't know. It just really it hurt my feelings a little bit. Like, y'all, I'm a type of person that don't read thrillers or sad books like that because I know my emotions. I know that I will cry at the drop of a dime. So Autumn and Flynn, they was like inseparable when they was growing up. Their moms are best friends. They lived next door to each other. They did just about everything together until they end up in high school and they kind of went their separate ways. Autumn started dating this guy named James. I think Finn thought James wasn't good enough for Autumn, and he had this type of, I don't know. He had like he was like in love with Autumn, but he was dating this other girl too, and it was just a lot going on. And child, I think the book that come out in his point of view come out in February, and I know my heart. I'm going to read it, but I know my heart is going to be in shatter. It is going to be in tatters after I read that book. I don't even know what person I'm going to be after reading that book. I just know that I might cry for like a week straight. The next book, now, when this book came out, it had everybody in the chokehold. It had everybody, their grandma, their mom, their sisters, dads, uncles, everyone in the chokehold. That is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I the crazy thing is, like, I wasn't going to read this book because I was just like, it's probably one of those books that everyone hype up on Book Talk, and it's probably not that good. I'm glad I got it because um Zayden, we love Zayden, we love Liam, we hate Dane. The way that he kept trying to make Violet feel like she was so inadequate, like she could not do anything for herself, like she was just this broken girl, like he was trying to make all her life decisions and choices for her, but Violet was like, she's one of those girls, like, if I'm put in a situation, I'm going to put my all into this so that I can make it through. And that's the type of person she was. But Nan was like her childhood best friend, and he was like, you can't do this, they're gonna kill you, don't do that. How did, like, it, he was really bothering my spirit. I mean, he was bothering my soul. So I great book. I love the dragons in here because, baby, first of all, I have never even told. I love Taryn and Ardana. First of all, oh god, I just finished reading Iron Flames a couple days ago, and I just be like, girl, it's like some of these couples in these books can never catch a break, never catch a break, like ever, and they want Zayden and Violet are one of those couples. The next book is Ace of Spades. Now, this book follows Chikamaka and Devin. They're like the two token black students that go to this private school. And it's, like I said, the two token black people. It's a predominantly white school. And they are the top of their classes. And every year, they allow two black students in. And as they proceed on in their high school career, if they get to the point where they feel like they wait till around senior time. It's this racist group called the Ace. Basically, everybody in the school are out to get them. They're out to make to tarnish their reputation so that they can't get into college and to basically ruin their lives on their senior year. Crazy, 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 crazy. I really enjoyed this book so much. I really want to reread it because it was so good. The action, the drama, the like racism, like it, child racism. This book is packed full of racist people. So it was pretty good. I love to see how they persevered in that book. Great book. Next book I want to mention is The Ballad of Never After. This is the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. This follows Evangeline, Jax, and what was the other guy named Apollo. This is like the only 5-star book in this series for me. Like, this was the only book in that series that kind of just stood out to me. Now, they did just come out with A Curse for True Love. That was like one of my most anticipated read of 2023, and it was a flop. It was a flop. The action that happens in this book, Jax and Evangeline, like, you got so much of Jax and Evangeline in this book right here. And then for the next book to come out, and it's majority Apollo and Evangeline, it just wasn't giving what it needs to give. So I only five. This is the only one that I gave 5 stars out of the series, but the series is a 5-star series to me. But like I was saying, it's whimsical. It gives like Alice in the Wonderland vibes. It's just amazing book, amazing book. If you haven't read the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy yet, please do. Now that all 3 books are out, so that you can kind of just roll into it. But the next book, now, if you ain't seen me talking about this book, I don't know where you been, because I've been forcing this book down everybody's throat. Anytime I'm asked what's my favorite book, it's this one. And it's not like, it's this one. and that's The House Across the Lake by Riley Sayers. I love this book. This book is so freaking good. I am not a thriller girl. I don't watch scary movies. I usually don't read scary books, but anything Mr. Riley Sager write, I am reading because his writing is so easy to get through. The action that he has in here, like the mystery, I was on the edge of my seat reading this book because I read this book mainly because Haley Pham read it and she was like, oh, that's a 5-star read. I really enjoyed that book. You should read it. Like, y'all should read it. And I picked it up and read it, and I cannot stop talking about this book. I love this book right here. If you haven't read this one, please do. Please do. The next book is Renegades. If you like Marvels or DC movies, you're gonna love Avengers. This is about the Avengers or the Renegades. What am I smart Avengers? This book is called The Renegades. Renegades. You're going to love Renegades if you love Marvels and DC. Now, this book follows the Renegades, and they're like the people that they're prodigies and they have abilities, and they're basically trying to help build the peace and re-establish the community in which they reign over, and they're basically like the judge, jury, and the goddamn what is the saying, the judge, the jury, and the executor. That's who they are. And they have the anarchies who are basically like, these people don't need y'all. Like, they know how to reign over their own. Like, who basically trying to tear down the renegade systems. I love this book. That's all I'm gonna say. I just love Nova. And the crazy thing is like they're fighting against each other, and Nova kind of infiltrate the renegades and act like she's not an anarchy, but she's a part of the renegades now, and she's kind of doing like some undercover work to get information on the renegade for her uncle and the other people that's a part of the anarchy. The way they treat them people are crazy to me. Like, crazy. But yeah, the next book I have to mention now, this is the series that I came across this year because Larry Reed's read it, and all she had to say was, this book reminds me of Criminal Minds. I love Criminal Minds. I am a Criminal Minds stan. I'm a Criminal Minds girly. I love Criminal Minds. So when she said that, I went about the whole series just off of her word, just after her saying it reminds her of Criminal Mind. I bought the whole series. Bought the whole series. This follows, I think, like 5 teenagers who have natural abilities. You have 2 who are natural profilers. You have 1 who is a natural liar and can tell when someone's lying. You have 1 that's good at numbers, and then you have 1 that's an emotional reader. The found family in this book, and then the thing is, like, you get to walk through cases with them and figure out, like it's like you're there. Like, you get the what is it, the unsub point of view. Like, you get like a little thing of like the unsub entries and everything. Like, I absolutely love this series, y'all. Love the series. If you haven't read The Naturals, please do. It's by Jennifer Lynn Burns. She wrote The Inheritance Games, and if I had to choose between those 2 series, I'm going to choose this one because it was just so underrated at one point, and I'm so glad that it was brought to light, and I'm glad that I got to read it because amazing book, amazing series, 10 out of 10. The next book is also a part of a series, and it is A Night Me. It's part of the Shadow series. This one follows Aaron Warner and Juliet. Juliet has this deadly touch. Now, the thing is, the further you get into this series, it's like the first book is where Juliet is locked away in this insane asylum, and then you get introduced to Adam. I'm saying not Adam. Yeah, Adam. Do get introduced to Adam, but you get introduced to Aaron, and he kind of wants to take Juliet as like a toy of some sort, a project of some sort. And y'all, when you get further in the series, how this whole series unravel is crazy, mind blowing. It is so good. I have one book left in this series to read, and that's Imagine Me, and I cannot wait to read that book just to see how the series end. Amazing book, amazing book. A Night Me is like one of my favorite books out of this series so far. A Night Me and I think Unravel Me are my favorite books out of this series, but most A Night Me because all the action happens in here, and y'all, if you haven't read Shatter Me, just read Shatter Me because amazing. 10 out of 10. The next book is Daisy Hates. Now, I read Magnolia Park and they was too, the way that they was carrying on in this book was ridiculous to me. Like, they was too childish. Like, it was just giving children vibes. And when I found out that it was actually adults, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it because I kind of got prep school vibe from them. Like they was in prep school because the way that BJ Magnolia was carrying on, and then they kind of introduced Daisy Hates in here, and I was like, I want to know her story, and I end up getting her book, reading her story. Her brother Julian, they're like drug lords, and y'all, I love them. I love this. Like Daisy Hate is my favorite book out of the whole series. So, well, I only read this one in Magnolia Park. I need to finish reading the rest of them. But Daisy Hates, I feel like Magnolia and BJ they just too toxic for me, and it's not gonna do it for me. But Daisy and Christian, although she a little fickle, I still I still gonna ride for Daisy and Julian so much. The next book I have to recommend is The Housemaid. Now, this is a part of a series as well. It's The Housemaid Secrets, and then she's coming out with another one called The Housemaid is Watching, and it follows the girl Millie who ends up getting fired for her job and living in her car, and she ended up coming across this ad where this lady needed a nanny to come in, and was it a nanny or was it a maid? Housemaid. It was maid, and she needed her to come in and clean her house and sometimes watch their daughter for them. But something weird ended up going on in the household, and yeah, if you haven't read The Housemaid, please do. I love the Housemaid series. I love Millie, and I'm just so glad that she did not end it off on the Housemaid Secrets because the way that this book is so good, y'all. I love Millie. The next book is Mary Jane. This is like a coming of age story. Now, when I seen that this book was based in 1970s in Baltimore, I knew I wasn't gonna like it. I felt like I wasn't gonna like it because I was like, that's just like 1970s. Like I wasn't even born around that time. So what is this gonna do for me? And I think that by me saying stupid stuff like that, I'm limiting myself. But this one followed Mary Jane. She was born in this house where um she it was like black and white. Like you as the white girl, as the wife or the woman of the household, you cook, you clean, you take care of the man, you cater to the man, and the man just paid the bill. That's how her mom was. But then she ended up getting a summer job where she was working for the Cones, and she realized that that is not how everything it goes on the outside. Like Mrs. Cone, she's one of those people that she walk around with no shoes on, no bra. Like she just do what she want to do. Her husband do what he want to do, and you know what I think about? Child, I just thought about something, but anyways, it's just it coming of age. If you haven't read Mary Jane, please read Mary Jane. This is such a good book. I really enjoyed the crap out of this book. The dad was a therapist, and he was counseling this famous rock star and his girlfriend or wife. I think it was his wife. So, yeah, that's all. I'm starting to lose my voice. I've been filming. The next and the last book that I have to mention is Final Offer by Lauren Asher. This one followed Callahan and Alana. Now, it's part of the Dreamland Billionaire series. This is the third and final book in that series. The first book followed his brothers, Rowan and Declan. Now, I stand on that Declan had the most complicated and craziest challenge, like, ever. Their grandfather left them, like, I guess you say assignments for them to do in order to get their will and a part of the company, and each one of them had to do said assignment. Now Callahan, he had to go back to Lake Wisteria and sell the lake house, and Cal is like a high functioning alcoholic. He drinks all the time. And the thing, like, you wouldn't even know from the first two books because he's like the light of the life. That, like, not well. You see why? Because Nick was always drunk, but he was like so funny and just so bright, and you would not know that he was going through that in the other two books. But in this one, he ends up being sent back to Lake Fury to sell the beach house that they own. And when he gets there, he finds Alana's there, and she actually owns part of the beach house, so they have to make a decision together in order to sell the beach house. And if they can't come up with it, then they can't. I think at like end of the summer, it was like the end of the summer. If they couldn't make a decision, then that was that. He wasn't gonna get his part of the inheritance. He wasn't gonna get, like, it was just gonna be it. Everything was gonna go to their dad, and they did not want that to happen because they did not like his daddy, because his daddy was another high functioning alcoholic. So it was an amazing book. I really enjoyed this one. This was like my favorite book out of the series. Although I love Declan, rich guy, for forced marriage, marriage convenience, and it's just, this one just had so much depth to it. I guess that's why it's the longest, because it had so much depth to it, and it wasn't just them trying to get the tax done. He had to actually physically work on himself to become a better version of himself in order to be able to, y'all, it was just a lot. So yeah, those are all the books that I absolutely enjoyed in 2024. Hopefully I come across more books that I can talk to you guys about at the end of next year that I enjoyed in 2024. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next video.
I'm calling bullshit. Say you got it, but you ain't got nothing. Bad bitches don't